Hello, everybody. This is episode 47. I hope you're all having a great day. Enjoy.
Episode 47. Having lived with my cerebral palsy all of my life, I have learned the independent living philosophy the hard way. I learned in school, when I reached about 11 years old, that I had high IQ but also severe dyslexia. That was on top of my CP. I was given a choice within the public school system that year. I could choose to address either my CP needs or my dyslexic needs, but not both. I realized that I could create my own path with the approach of addressing all of my needs in a holistic manner, so I chose to be homeschooled, with modifications, adaptations, and additional interests that I devised being included. I joined a debate club, a choir, redesigned a literature course to include Shakespeare theater, opera and drama, as well as becoming an advocate and starting to visit my various representatives on a local, state and federal level. I also started volunteering at my local library for more than 25 hours a week, as well as learning to become a shadow assistant for a person on the spectrum. When college came, I was adamant that I wished to move away to college. It took a few tries, but I learned that advocating is also asking for help, or seeking who can help when the picture is unclear. I did a rough year, and regrouped, and then found a fantastic school, with an Office of Disabilities and Accommodations that was phenomenal, the University of Southern Mississippi. They showed me how to advertise and hire assistants from the student body. I had a plethora of friends from church, my major, library and information science, and also the large community through the ODA. We all learned together that what works for one doesn't work for all, but we met monthly to see what was going on, who needed what, and how we might convert one solution to be modified to make a similar accommodations. Cool part was, this was when I realized that independent living, advocating for my rights and just living life did not have to be a Sisyphean effort. Eureka! In the job market, I hit a new speed bump, a gargantuan boulder in the road. While I trained for the job application and interview process, I followed through the normal paths. It was when I went in for an interview for a part-time job to tide me over with Barnes & Noble that I realized I was in for a drought. The interviewer literally froze like a deer in headlights when she saw me walk in with my walker. She asked me questions about my background, and even though I stated on the application that I would like to request modifications, she never allowed the topic to come forward. Never heard from her again, even with requests for feedback. After that, I applied for over 100 plus librarian archivist positions. I interviewed for about 20 plus positions that were library or archivist positions, and while at the interview, the interviewers appeared to be very interested in my vast experience and knowledge base, as I had over 8 years of experience with library intern positions that I loved, but due to laws at the time with Social Security, internships could not be paid positions. I only got 3 responses after the interviews. 2 were complimentary, but stated that they found another candidate, which I was fine with. The third one offered me my dream job. I was then employed by the state library in the library for accessible books and media. I moved to the state capitol and found that supports had changed and I hadn't gotten the memo. Because I took the position, then found the apartment next door, and then looked for a PCA, I would receive no benefits to help with either of the last 2. The library was terrific at modifying specific items to meet my needs. My apartment complex would not. I was then told a PCA to help with minor tasks like shoes twice a day would cost me $6,000 a month. I had some help from family during that time, but then after 7 months in my apartment, the complex raised my rent from $1,200 to $3,000 a month. My salary could not cover that rent along with just food. I resigned my position, which broke my heart, and began the search again for employment, living quarters, and assistance. Things don't get better, they just change, and sometimes, We all just get tired. The process of seeking the philosophy of independent living is a continuous process. Sometimes it goes great, and sometimes not. The need is for support, and that is what we all should seek, support.